Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to look into another problem of data structures in terms of arrays of Hackerearth. Uh, I want to tell you a few things. Although this question is in basics of 1D array of Hackerearth, but there is some mistake. Like you need at least some basic knowledge of hashing to solve this question. Also, to pass all the test cases of time complexity, you need to have some understandings of buffer reader also. Okay, so we'll make use of this and try to solve this question. So first let's look into the question and try to understand this. So you're given an array A of n integers. You want to choose some integers from the array subject to the condition that the number of distinct integers chosen should not exceed k. Okay, and your task is to maximize the sum of the chosen numbers. So very simple, as the question is saying that you will be given some numbers. So for example, you can see here 3 minus 1 2 5. So you want to select some numbers out of it. How many? K numbers. K at max k numbers. So at most k. At most k means the numbers can be less than k, but at maximum they should be k only. So here we can choose only one number. So the greatest number obviously you will choose, which is 5. Here you can choose two numbers. So here this scenario becomes a little bit different because they are asking you to choose to at max k distinct integers. Okay, distinct. So here two numbers can be, one is 5, another number is 2. Okay, 2 is the second largest number here. So you can pick up both of the 2's because both 2 are same. So 5 plus this 2 plus this 2, which gives you 9. So at max you are choosing only two distinct integers, which are 2 and 5, but the total maximum sum you are getting is 9. Okay, so that's all basically about this question. Now let's try to analyze it a little bit more. Let's go into my notebook, and I've created a very basic example here so that you guys can understand. So firstly guys, we want to maximize the sum, maximize as greater as possible. Okay, and it's our choice whether we want to select all the k elements or not. So here I have example, I have 10 numbers, 10 as my n, and here we have array 10 numbers, and this 4 is the maximum numbers that we can select, maximum distinct numbers. So first of all, the very basic conditions that we can just ignore negative numbers and zeros, because it will just reduce your number, right? It will reduce your sum, not increase but reduce your sum. So I can ignore all the negative numbers, simply negative and zeros also I can ignore. So these numbers I will simply ignore. Now let's talk about the remaining numbers. So one simple idea comes to your mind that right now we are remaining with this 5 5 10 8 16 and 14. Okay, so one basic idea comes that I want to select four numbers that should give me the maximum sum. So one basic idea that you can follow is you can just try to take the as large numbers as possible. So you will select firstly this 16, then you will select this 14. So we are up with two numbers, and then we can select this 10, and finally we can select this 8. So this is giving us already like four greater numbers. So what will be the sum of these numbers? What will be the sum of these numbers? Is this your correct solution? Let's check it out guys. So let's see what will be the total sum of this one. So 10 plus 10 20 plus 16 plus 14 will give you 30. 30 plus 10 is 40 plus 8 is equals to 48. So here your maximum sum you are getting is as 48. Is there a better number to choose? So if you see properly, instead of choosing this 8, if you would have chosen 5, if you would have chosen 5, now as we told you that we can select four distinct numbers, so these 5 will be selected as a same category, right? They both are a single distinct number. So we have four distinct number, one is 5, 10, 16 and 14. We have four distinct numbers, but their total sum will be, this time this 5 and 5 will give you 10, because there is two 5. So now your total sum becomes what? Now your total sum becomes 16 plus 14 is 30, plus 10 40, plus 10 50. So this is giving you 50 as your total sum. Okay, so now you can see this answer is greater than this one. I hope you guys are able to understand this. Now let's try to look like how we can approach this problem. So first thing says, to get how many numbers we can select, we need to get the count of particular numbers, right? We need to get the count of particular numbers so that we can get how many, what is the total sum acquired by those numbers. So basically, there are different ways to do it. We can simply use a hash map here and get the mapping against a particular number with its frequency. So I'm going to draw here a basic hash map so that you guys can understand. Okay, so this will be my number which will be paired against my count. Okay, a hash map. So firstly I have 5 which will be having initially here the count will be 1. Now again I got my second 5, so count will become equal to 2. Okay, then there is 10 which is having 1, then there is 8 which is again 1, then we have minus negative numbers or zeros we can simply ignore. Now we have 16, so 16 is also having 1. Now we have 14, 14 is having count as 1. Now we have negative numbers, we can simply ignore them. Okay, so this is my hash map which you have already created. Now we can find out the total sum that individual number will give us. Okay, so we can simply multiply a particular number by its count. So 5, if 5 is appearing 4 times, then it will give you sum as 20. If 5 is right now appearing only 2 times, it will give you sum as 10. So simply you can multiply these two. Okay, multiply this num with this count and you will get 5 into 2 which is equals to 10. And similarly you can perform for rest of the values, it will remain same: 10, 8, 16 and 14. So after getting these values, now you can pick up the largest 4 values out of these. Okay, largest 4 values you need to pick up out of these. So simply you can pick up this 16, this 14, this 10 and this 10, which will give you sum as this 50. Okay, cool. So firstly you can traverse through this array and create this basic hash map of our frequency count. Okay, now multiply these keys with their values and form these sums. Okay, or whatever you can call them. Okay, now you can store this thing in a list. You can store these numbers inside a list. Okay, I can use an array list here since I will be using Java, so you can use array list. Then you can sort it in descending order. Sort this list in descending order. Okay, and pick first 4 values. Pick first 4, which is k, first k values, and that is your answer. That's all. First pick up first k values and sum them. So simply sum of first k values. So that's all we need to do, guys. I hope the approach is completely clear to everyone. Then I'm going to jump into the coding section now, and I hope you guys are able to understand it. Now let's see the coding part, guys, the implementation. So I will be using Java to solve this. So let's clean our code a little bit so that it is readable for you guys. Okay, so it will fail one of our test cases of time complexity if we are using scanner. We need faster input output, so I will be using buffer reader here. So let me clean this up a little bit. So I'm going to remove this all of these things. I will just keep here buffer reader because we are going to use it since we have many number of test cases here. So I have my buffer reader. Now let's take firstly this t. We are given this t as the number of test cases in our input. So let's take this first. So for my buffer reader, I'm going to use my string str to take individual lines here as input. Okay, individual each line as input. And so I will mark an empty string initially. And wherever needed, I will split this string. I will split this string, okay, to create this array. So I will need a string s array of strings, and this also I can keep empty in the beginning. Okay, so now let's get the number of test cases first, which in this case is 2. So let's get this. So firstly I will say str is equals to br dot read line to get this line as input. Now I need to convert this string into this integer. So I can simply say int t is equals to integer dot parse int and pass here str directly. So this 2 will be read as string and will be converted into integer here. Now I can run a for loop to run for t number of test cases. So I will run here ti is equals to 0 semicolon ti is less than t semicolon ti plus plus. You can even use while loop or whatever loop you like. Now inside this, what do we need? We need two inputs. One is for our n and another is for k. So n is the size of array and k is the number of distinct numbers that we can have for our sum. So again I will take the same, this string is equals to br dot read line as my input. Now this time it is scanning two inputs. So I will split this input into a array, which I'm going to use this SAR. So S array is equals to str dot split function I will use. So this string I will split by spaces. So this is a very basic understanding. If you know about buffer reader, we used to do this thing. Now out of this array, my 0th index will store this n and first index will store this k. So I can now extract it out. So int n is equals to, again I need to use integer dot parseInt because it is in form of string. But this time instead of passing string, I will pass s array 0. Okay, similarly I can get my k also, but this will be in first position. Okay, once I have this n and k, I need to take this array as input. So I can take this array as input also and store it inside array. But right now in our use case, we just need one individual elements because we can directly store them inside my this hash map. So let's create our hash map first. Okay, hash map first, and directly instead of storing this whole values into array, I will take individual values and keep on pushing it into my hash map. My hash map will be of integer type. Okay, integer pair. So let's create it. So let's quickly create hash map of integer type. Okay, let's name it as frequency count equals to new hash map. Okay, now let's start iterating for number of inputs that I want to take using this n. So I will take for loop int I is equals to 0 semicolon I is less than n semicolon I plus plus. Okay, so before iterating into it, I will take this complete line as a string input. Okay, using this, and I will split it into array of strings. Okay, now I have this array as a string, and now from this array I can keep on extracting individual numbers and convert it into integer, because these are in form of string also right now. And this individual number will be like my key here. Okay, it will be like a key here, these individual numbers. So I'm going to write them as a key. So let me write here, int key is equals to, again I need to use this integer dot parseInt. So let's take this, and I will take s array of I. So now I have this individual numbers here, this 3 minus 1 2 5, these all will be my key. Now firstly I need to check whether this key is positive or negative. If it is negative or 0, I can simply ignore and do nothing. So I will simply say if key is less than equal to 0, just continue inside my loop. Okay. Now in else part, I need to put it inside my frequency count map. So if it does not exist inside my map, so let's say first time when I was inserting 5, it was not existing. So that time I need to insert this 5 with a count of 1. Okay. So let me explain you a little bit here. So initially when I was trying to insert, when I was here, I had 5. So 5 is not present inside my this map. So what I will do, I will insert it with a count of 1. Okay, every time I found a new number, I will insert it with a count of 1. So I will do the same here. If frequency count dot contains key, which one? This key here that I'm taking key as a number. If if it does not contain, in that case I will put it inside my frequency count, the same key with a count of 1. Frequency count dot put I need to use. Else what I will do, in else case, when it is present inside my map, right now it is not present. So in this case here, when I got the second 5, so right now when I checked whether my map contains this 5 or not, yes it contains. So this time I need to extract this count, which is 1, add one more 1 to it and put it back. So right now I will be putting here 2. So whatever the count is, I need to increase it by 1. So firstly let's extract this count. How will I do this? So let's write int count is equals to frequency count dot get key. So against 5, I'm trying to get key 5 here. So I will get this count 1. I will get this count 1 and store it inside count. And now I want to put it back with the increased frequency. So let me copy this frequency dot put key. But this time I want to increase my count plus 1. So this I want to insert. So now my map is ready and all the values are there. Okay, so my hash map is ready with all these values. Now I want to traverse through all these values and keep getting my this final sum so that I can store it inside a list. So let me start traversing through this. So I will make use of enhanced for loop as usual. I like this map dot. Give me a minute, guys. So I will use here map dot entry, and the type should be same as of this our hash map. Okay, we'll take individual elements as entry, and our frequency count will convert into a entry set. Okay, now we can traverse through this and keep on pushing this sum into my array list. So let's create a list firstly, guys. So I can create a array list here, array list of. Now there's the thing, guys. So right now if you see, individual elements can be integer. Okay, these individual elements can be integer, but their sum, the product of these integers, can go beyond integer, that can go inside long. So what I mean to say, right now if you see this constraint, individual elements can be present inside your integer, but sum of two integers or many integers can go beyond integer. So we need to take this array list as of type long. So let me write here long, and my list is equals to new array list. Okay, so now what I want to do, I want to add it into it. So let's write it as sum, not sum. Let's take it as some element e. Long e is equals to, so entry dot get key. Okay, and I want to multiply this entry dot get value. So what I just did here, inside my this map, this is considered as an entry. I took this num, which is my key, this count, which is my value, and I multiplied them, stored it inside a long value called e. So this might, since these are integers, this might give you a typecasting error, so I will convert them into long firstly. Okay, once I have this e, I can push it into my list, inside this list. So my list dot add e. Okay, so we are good here. Now what do we need to do next? So I told you here that once we are done with our creation of our list, we will sort this into a descending order, and then I can pick up first k values and sum them. So we'll do that. So let's go here. I will use, since this is a collection, I will use collections dot sort. What I want to sort, I want to sort my list into what, into descending order. So I need to pass here one more parameter, collections dot reverse order. Okay, once you have this, now you can make use of long sum to store this, all these sum, top four sums. Once you sort them, top four sums you want to store of this sorted list. So let's use sum is equals to 0. Now I will iterate through my this list. Again, I can make use of this enhanced for loop to iterate through them, or I can even use I also. So let's use a simple for loop, int I equals to 0 semicolon I is less than k. Out of these I want only top k values, I plus plus. Now I can say sum plus equals to my list dot get I. Okay, that's all these values. Now finally, after proceeding with this, I can print it out. Let me see if I'm in the correct loop or not. So this is my number of test cases. Yeah. After this, I can print my sum, system dot out dot print ln sum. Okay, that's all for now. Let's see if it is working fine or not. I hope I did not make any mistakes. Okay, let's directly test it. I hope this will test these inputs only. Okay, so my sample test case has been passed. My code is working fine. Let's try to submit this. Taking a little bit time. Okay, so I see some issues here. Runtime error in certain cases. Why it should not happen? Integer dot pass and I'm taking n k. Okay, so there might be a possibility, guys, that the values itself does not exist inside this my list. For example, that I'm saying here that I want five values. Okay, let's say I want my k is equals to 4, but all the numbers are, let's say, zeros only, negatives or zeros. Minus 4. Okay, so this time I cannot pick up four values here because all the values are negative only. My sum should be 0 only, and my this new array list will not be of that much size. Okay, will not be of that much size, so I need to mark this my array list size also, not just k. So the small fix until I is less than k and I is less than my list dot size. Now I think it should work fine. Let's see. Okay, let's try to submit this code. Okay, awesome guys. So finally it is working fine with all the test cases. So that's all for today guys. I hope you learned something about hashing and arrays and how you handle this buffer reader. So that's all for today guys. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Keep coding, keep learning. Bye bye. And like, share and subscribe this video so that it reaches out to more people. Comment out if you like or dislike something. And that's all. Thank you.